Yeah, we see Jean here. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Guadalupe City Council, Tuesday, June 23rd, 2006. May we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Costa Jr.
Here.
Councilmember Fernandez.
Here.
Councilmember Villegas.
Here.
Councilmember Hernandez. And Mayor Julian.
Here, we have a quorum. If you will, please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The next item is moment of thanks, appreciation, or condolences. We've had quite a few deaths in Guadalupe, so condolences to all those families. Amelia, do you have, Ms. Villegas, anything? Jean?
Just like Mayor said, we've had a lot of deaths here in Guadalupe. I don't know everybody's name, but two of them it slipped my mind at our last meeting, but there was a Philip Martinez who lived here in Guadalupe for a lot of years, and then Stella Ramos passed away.
Right.
So yeah, condolences to the families.
Thank you, Jean. The next item 4 is agenda review. If the city council wishes to change the order of business, now is the time to do so. Jean, good? Good. Staff, you're good. Next item is community participation. This item is for individuals or items that are not on the agenda. And I have Ashlyn and Juan Rodriguez. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Thank you for having me here today. My name is Ashlyn Hurley. I am here representing 805 Swish Basketball, along with one of our administrative assistants, Katie Tanasha, and Juan Rodriguez, who is our director, who could not be here tonight. Unfortunately, we're not on the agenda, but I have been in contact with Cynthia in terms of logistics in respectfully requesting approval to run a TNT fireworks stand in the Veterans Plaza. So 805 Swish Basketball's program mission is to provide affordable opportunities for girls and boys basketball here in our community. A little bit about my background. I was blessed enough to play Division I basketball on a full ride scholarship. I played professionally for 3 years. Recently came back about a year and a half ago with my #1 goal of being to make youth sports affordable again. They have become astronomical in terms of prices and burdens to our families, especially here in Guadalupe. 805 Swish, about 35 to 40% of our kids are on scholarships, meaning that that burden comes from coaches and from parents having to run barbecues, fundraisers, etc. And to my knowledge, it came to me from our director that the nonprofit that used to run the fireworks stand has not applied this year. So we saw that as an opportunity to potentially step in and take it over this year. Should that be approved, it would be enormous in terms of fundraising for our kids, for our communities, in terms of new uniforms, tournament fees, player coaches fees, etc. Like I said, we're here requesting approval. I know that we're, in terms of timeline, getting up there. 4th of July is right around the corner. So in a sense, we would be, putting a lot of stuff together. But I do have a packet in terms of our application, our insurance, our state fire marshal application permit has been approved, and a map and a security plan also outlining what that might look like should that be considered. I'm happy to answer any questions. And again, thanks for having me here tonight.
Thank you. Let's discuss. I know you're basketball.
You know how I feel about basketball. I think, if we, at this point, I don't think we don't have a fireworks stand in Guadalupe, right?
No, they're
So
not gonna run it, yeah.
it would be beneficial, I think, if there's anything we could do to get the fireworks stand done by an organization that I, stand behind. So I'm not sure we can't take action tonight on something that's not on the agenda. But if there's anything we can do, I would love to work toward that.
Any other discussion? So we can open it up. So.
Yeah, I was not unaware that our prior organization didn't submit, and I've seen the fireworks stands going
Everywhere,
being
yeah.
put up, and I've noticed we did. I didn't even notice that we did. I was just under the assumption that they were still. So, I mean, if we can get something going to have, I'm not sure on the times of what it would be with the firework company bringing out a stand to do all that. We might be at a loss for this year.
So they did,
sure.
TNT, the rep and I have been in communication and they are completely on board and willing as long as we get the city approval.
Okay.
Mhm.
Christina, any comments? One of the things, I know Chief, you know, I think it's a great opportunity for continuing basketball. And I would hope that, or I would suggest that we basically leave it up to our city administrative staff, the police chief, and also put some pressure on our city administrator to actually move toward approval. There's nothing set in stone that nobody can use the plaza if it's not approved by the council. And I think that there's times like this that we should be able to have administrative staff look at it to say yay or nay based on the contracts that they have, discussions with the police department and also with the city. So I would lean on the city staff, including David and Chief. And also I know that Phil is aware of what's going on. And I think that if we, again, hand this requirement or this opportunity for the city staff to make that decision as opposed to having to come back after our next meeting, which is, what is it, July 14th, 15th, 16th? Yeah, it's way out
11th,
there.
yeah.
It's not, won't do any good. Won't do any
Mhm.
good. I want to hear from staff. How do you feel about?
Well, I have no qualms with any kind of organization going in that's especially going to help something like this where they rely on travel or community funds like this. As long as they've crossed all their T's and dotted all their I's and, you know, Chief gives them the blessing that he needs to give them with all the fire inspections and storage and all that. I have no problem.
Well, you know, they have the church there, and I know that historically, I don't know, Chief, can you give us how that works with the stand there, and did they mark it off? Have you talked to them at all or no?
No, but I have
Not, I'm
seen
sorry, not
the,
them, but to you. Okay.
yeah, no, this is my first time meeting the group here, but I have seen the application and I sent information back to Cynthia from a police standpoint is one is they need to pay for the fire inspection. That's pretty much mandatory as they set up the booth. And two is I was looking for information on what was their, I saw what was in the plan and we haven't discussed it, but as far as for security of securing the fireworks the night of until the next day, we had a routine with the previous person that we stored those things. But I think in your plan, if I'm not mistaken, it was a storage container that was on site.
Correct.
Right. The only thing I looked at that is who's going to monitor that.
Yeah, so in terms of, I know in the past, so Pismo Beach Police Department actually donated a heavy duty lock for us that they recommended because I was kind of asking around in terms of security. I know talked to the previous nonprofit and they mentioned they had an enclosed trailer that they actually parked near your guys's department there, which if you're willing, we'd be happy to do. I just figured it might be easier to have Mid-State Containers drop something off and then get one of put all the fireworks inside and close it with that heavy duty lock. And then even if need be, we can park a truck or we can hire overnight security or honestly, at this point, whatever is fit in your eyes, we're happy to do and go through with.
Okay. And so that we can move forward on this is if we can talk afterwards, I think that we can get this resolved to make this happen
How soon?
tonight.
Okay. But they need information. So it sounds like
Yeah.
The
As soon as we get through
department
here,
staff is,
I
okay.
will work with them, and if it's okay to move forward, Dave, you feel good with it? We'll work it out. We'll talk in the back
Okay,
and we'll
sounds
get everything
great.
squared away.
I really appreciate that. Thank
Okay.
you. And thank you for your service as well.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you, guys. I
Okay.
really appreciate your time.
All
Thank
right,
you.
you're welcome. All right, our next item, anybody else that wants to speak on the community participation? I've seen no forms. We'll go to consent calendar. The following items are presented by the city council for the city council approval without discussion, single agenda item. Is there a council member that wishes to pull any of the consent items? Nope. Is there a motion to approve the consent calendar?
I'll motion to approve the consent calendar.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All ayes, great. Next item, management report, city administrator, Mr. Trujillo.
Right. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members, staff and residents. We'll get going into just kind of what's going on in the city right now with the projects. The theater is still moving along. This week, they're expecting to pour a majority of the interior footers along the south stem wall. Pending inspection on the rebar, but they haven't had any problems so far, so I don't foresee that being an issue. They're still doing paint samples right now, kind of basing it off of the prior paint that was in there before, just keeping it, the same. And then they're meeting with the door people already, trying to figure out what doors are going to go where and when. And I think the biggest issue is going to be the front, making sure that it maintains the historical application of prior. Let's see what else we got going here. It's looking like the permit for Caltrans for the facade portion, the sidewalk portion of the wall is going to be moving here pretty quick. They're expecting to connect the sewer line within the next 2 weeks and get that out of the way. They already have the gas hookups scheduled for September. We're redoing some reviews on the restrooms. Once they kind of got some stuff out of there and did some plastering, one of the walls doesn't look like it's going to have to or be able to go with the original look. So it looks like it's going to get furred out a little bit, maybe some subway tiles, something like that, keep it classy, but still within the era. Let's see what else we got going. One thing we ran into today, so the EDA kicked back our reimbursement. The issue is now that the property merger wasn't recorded properly. So providing the legal information from the recorder to the EDA to showing the actual dimensions of the property is incorrect. So we're already in contact with the survey crew to get that all fixed and recorded properly. We tried some wordsmithing to try to get it by, and they kicked it right back super quick. So we thought it would be better to
Just do it again.
just redo everything and get everything 100% legit, so that in the future we don't have any problems or any questions brought up. As everybody's probably seen, with Las Mujeres, that's moving along quick. Skate park's probably done now-ish, pending some little minor things. They're still doing all kinds of grading, the bocce ball court. A lot of the lighting is already installed and wired. They're getting ready to start setting the poles for the playground stuff, getting that going. The water's been hooked up. They're getting ready to start laying out and pouring the bathroom area. The dog park is moving along. 303 Obispo is complete, pending activation of the chargers. But that's all brand new asphalt, brand new chargers. It looks pretty amazing, especially for the first project done in 26. So things are looking up. Amtrak has construction's kicked off again. They got all the parking lots all tore up. We hit another setback. PG&E, originally they were gonna allow us to run some conduit and stuff, and then they were just gonna, connect all the wires. They decided that is not what they want to do anymore. So they want to do it. So we're looking at about 2 weeks, 10-day delay on that before we're back on their schedule so they can come in and hook all that stuff up. And then so we have received some questions about people with all the construction that's going on Highway 1. And I don't know how the chief feels about it. I just got the email not soon enough to be able to have a conversation with him, but they're requesting if they park in like the city parking lot during construction overnight, if we can not ticket them.
Who's,
don't know.
who is it? Why overnight? Or
For like
resident?
the residents that live like where they're
Yeah,
gonna
but
be
it's the
impeded
thing.
with
Okay.
their ability to park at their locations. So I thought I would bring that to you guys and see what you guys think about that.
I have no problem with that. I think perhaps we should give them some kind of tick, not a ticket, but a pass
Mm.
to say, because then you're gonna have everybody and their uncle. What do you think,
So-
chief?
So I'll get with chief and we
Okay.
can decide a way to kind of to figure that out. I just wanted to get your guys' blessing before, just because I got it so late, I didn't get to have this conversation yet.
It shouldn't last too long. They're moving really quick.
I don't know if they're thinking that they're gonna be able to do it for the whole duration, which is probably gonna be a no-go. We're
yeah.
looking at like 6 months of construction still. And that's gonna be a no-go, but if they want to do it for, whatever chief decides.
Just real quick, we've already, we have a system in place. We already worked with Amtrak because the people that go out of town and park overnight as far as in that lot. So we set up a system to deal with them while they're off site. And so if you just have them contact police department and
Absolutely.
we'll sit down and formulate a plan with them.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, that could be a lot of cars.
Yeah.
David,
What's that? Yeah. Yeah, really. No, we don't.
I have a
But
quick question, David, on that,
Yes,
while
yes,
you're on that note. You mentioned 6 months of completion for the sidewalks. What does that look like? I know that the parade is coming up for Fiestas Patrias. What does that look like?
it looks like 6 months of construction.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll be honest with you, the pushback that we're getting from Caltrans, just to be able to use encroachment permits that they've approved so that we can go out and do work that they've already approved us to work. I kind of hope we never have to do another Caltrans project again. They're not very fun people to work with.
no flexibility.
And normally I don't like saying anything like that in this session, but yeah.
Okay.
So
Are they actually gonna have a parade?
I mean, I've never seen them not have not a parade. So I just want to make sure that the organizers are aware of that, I know that usually they submit their application usually at the deadline.
It
We'll
seems,
just-
it seems as though they're moving really quick. So we're looking at September.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it didn't make sense when on the call today, they said late, a late 26 finish.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's encompassing any kind of actual asphalt repairs they're gonna do. I don't know if it's all encompassing or if they're just talking curbs, gutter, sidewalks, like they're tearing up all over the place. So I'm not 100%
It'd be
sure.
interesting to see if if the comité is asking for an encroachment permit for the road itself, if they'll, allow that.
I think the saving grace will be because if the parade's it's on a weekend, right? Saturday.
Yeah.
So I don't know that that'll be an issue. The sidewalks and stuff will just be tore up. I don't necessarily foresee them saying no to a permit on a weekend or at night.
Okay,
But then again, they haven't been nice to us.
but I know, and I heard, and maybe I see, anybody connected to comité over here? Can you go on
I was at a meeting yesterday and it's my understanding they are not going to have a parade this year.
but I know that I heard they're gonna set up in the parking lot.
Yes, they're going to have a celebration, but there won't be a parade.
So that then looks at. So we're gonna double stack or triple stack the cars,
Which
Right.
parking lot?
Right.
the plaza.
The veterans.
the Veterans Plaza.
Mhm. So.
Okay.
And I don't know if we've seen anything from their request or not.
Mm,
All right, that's good to know. No parade, so,
might be
Um,
better off at the park, no?
yeah.
Like a Leroy, at least.
Well, I might,
parking,
based
and
on,
it's
based
big.
on what we're looking at with the residents, that is probably best to just go all the way down to the park.
Mhm.
You got parking down there and you're not gonna mess, you're not mess, but you're not gonna impact the churches or anything else, so. Food for thought.
Wow.
So,
Any more questions?
any questions? Any further questions? Thank you. Director of Public Safety, Chief Cash.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council, staff, and citizens. I'm apologize that I didn't have a report. A lot of stuff just kind of kept moving and kept us busy. But just real quick, you talked about, just had my notes on that one. We're really stressing wellness for our first responders. You hit on something today. I just made it here because we had to do a check on a possible deceased individual. And then prior to that, we were in one of the council person's neighborhood. It wasn't that person, but we had a suicide attempt by a younger person. So we're having quite a few incidents. And just this month, we already had 3 officers injured. So we haven't even really hit summer. And it's just a really kind of tough time right now. So, we're really trying to stress wellness checks on first responders. So I'm kind of going to each one, seeing how they're doing on a regular basis and kind of checking up on them. Snowy plover, we appreciate from our city attorney's office and our code compliance. I just left there prior to getting here, and it's almost completely done as far as all the weeds. Because I got a call from the farmer next door because the weeds there, someone cut his fence, so we had cows on Snowy Plover Street with everything else. So that was all taken care of, thank goodness. Los Mujeres Park, all the cameras are installed and they put the software on my computer and we have it for the other computers. Only problem is we have no power. And the skate park is huge. We were just there 20 minutes ago because we advised them to call us and we asked them to put up no trespassing signs because it's a public park. So we can't tell people not to be in a public park from a legal standpoint. And we had several kids already skateboarding, but the kids were really
There was
good.
construction going on. There shouldn't be, shouldn't be there anyway.
Well,
But-
they were all construction was gone. And so
Mhm.
they had the fence closed and first thing go like, oh, I didn't know this was, we can't be here. There's no signs. So, but the kids were really good. And the whole thing is finding them things to do. And I appreciate David from your office. Kids came by to play basketball and they said, your office opened up the gym for them. So we're keeping our kids busy and off the streets, which is a real positive sign. We'll get we got a reimbursement check from fire department for the lost property from when we responded down to Los Angeles for the fire, and our fire vehicle was broken into and a lot of tools were taken. So I got to send that check over to finance. I appreciate the fireworks flyer that we got from city administrator's office. Usually we get the flyer, and I apologize to Deborah that we didn't get a chance to kind of get with you. Usually supply our flyer. Yes, you did.
Yeah.
So we really appreciate that. And out of the 4 personnel that had the training for the drone operation, 2 have already received their FAA license, and 1 takes the test next week. So we're going to try to work out whatever overtime schedules that we can so we can do our drone enforcement. We've seen that on Facebook that people are pressing the issue. So we're trying to do as much as we can considering staffing. And on the last 2 is concerning the Caltrans working on the street. I've been trying to find who's a supervisor in the 900 block of Guadalupe there. Some of the restaurants are asking if the bulbs, the bulb outs are going to be removed so that they can get parking.
I think they're gonna be expanded.
Yeah, I mean, I know they weren't really thrilled. And we had a couple owners kind of walking the streets, and I told them, I will try to find who is the contact person, unless just to see what's going to happen.
We have a meeting with Caltrans Thursday
Okay.
at SPCAG, so, and I'm sure we can find out, those bulb ups are to slow traffic. So they're not gonna go away. Because people go fast even with bulb ups.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
And
they're still doing
I
fast.
understand there may be even trees in the bulb up, so.
Yeah, if we can slow down traffic, it would be
Yeah,
great.
they're not
Any
gonna-
illegal
They're not
U-turns.
gonna go away, so.
And last but not least, this morning respond to a fire behind the Veterans Building. Someone had burnt through the back of the fence. We hopped over the fence, I didn't hop over the fence. We went through the building, fire hopped over the fence. Thank goodness that's their job and they stay in shape. And someone had burnt the entire fence, and someone's been back there doing narcotics. Because it's a tight spot to kind of get back into.
Right.
So, we're going to try to monitor that, and the our building people were also there helping us. So we had fire department, police department, and building. We were all responded to the fire and the fence. It's going to have to be repaired because now it'll give access from the apartment complex directly behind the building. So that's something I'll make sure that we take pictures of, and we'll see how we're going to handle that so we can secure that area. With that is my
What side did the fire start on this veteran side, the building side, or the other side? Probably the veteran
well,
side, yeah.
from the things that
You
how to
found,
put
yeah.
this,
Yeah.
yes, the things that we found there, it occurred on the other side of the fence.
Hmm.
And it just happened, but we found some paraphernalia and other items on the city side of the fence.
Okay.
So we think both sides, there's
Yeah, it's a
something going
hidden
on.
area there.
Very much so.
Yeah.
And everything was locked. So someone had to hop the fence to kind of get back there.
Yeah, it's easy to do.
So with that's my report. Unless
Okay.
there's any questions.
Any questions of Chief?
Good
Good.
question for David. David, that the Caltrans can't even say that, revitalization plan. Can you send that document? I think I tried to look under Caltrans District 5. That way we can share with our business owners what that looks like.
I don't have that plan.
Okay. I know that
I-
somewhere.
I can,
Okay.
I'll talk to him.
Okay, perfect.
Not that I have any other power. I'm gonna meet with him Thursday, so.
I think it's important that the city
Yeah.
have that document. So if you don't have it yet, I think it's great that you reach out to Caltrans. That way, if community residents do have questions, business owners, what does this look like? We already have that.
Are you looking like a
The schematic,
a
yeah.
Just the
rendering?
ADA, yeah, just a rendering.
So I don't know that we received a rendering. All we received was plans. So
Okay.
unless the business owners can read plans, I don't know if it's gonna be beneficial for them.
'Cause I remember
From
they
my
had-
side, at least.
yeah,
I've
remember
never
there was
seen a
plan
rendering.
layout and it looked like what it would look like.
Right.
But I couldn't find it on that website on District 5.
Unless Marge Kern, if she can hit them up and get it to us sooner than Thursday. Okay, any other further questions of David or the chief? Okay, then we'll go to regular business. Item 9, call in giving notice of general municipal election to be held November 3rd, 2026, and requesting consolidation with the state general election and establishing regulations for candidate statements. And Wendy.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members and everyone else in the room. It's so exciting to me to be presenting this staff report. I've never made a personal comment before at a council meeting, but I'm going to do it tonight. Long time ago, 1976, my husband and I were students at San Luis Obispo High School, senior high school. We were among the first people who were 18 years old who were given the right to vote in the United States. all of us in our class considered it to be incredibly precious. All of us vote all the time. And so I just wanted to say it's my honor to present this item tonight, which is the kickoff for the general municipal election that's to be held on November 3rd, 2026. What we're requesting the city council to do tonight is to call and give notice of that election and establish regulations for candidate statements. The way to do that would be to follow staff's recommendation to adopt resolution 2026-26 and also adopt resolution 2026-27. The first one gives notice for the holding of a general municipal election on November 3rd. The second establishes regulations for candidate statements.
Okay, any questions? Is there a motion to adopt resolution 2026?
I'll make
Oh,
Look,
we're going to do this separately, vote on this separately. The two different resolutions. Wendy?
Yes, please.
yes,
Okay.
okay, thank you.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution number 2026-26.
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Costa Junior,
Aye.
Councilmember Fernandez,
Aye.
Councilmember Villegas,
Aye.
Councilmember Hernandez, and Mayor Julian.
Aye, it's passed. Now, is there a motion to adopt 2026-27?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2026-27, establishing regulation for candidate statements.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Costa Junior,
Aye.
Councilmember Fernandez,
Aye.
Councilmember Villegas,
Aye.
Councilmember Hernandez, and Mayor Julian.
The resolution passes. Thank you. And we'll go to item number 10. Submission of a measure to voters establishing the cannabis business tax. Wendy.
Good evening again, Mr. Mayor, city council members, and everyone else in the room. The item before you follows up on an ordinance that the city council just finished passing tonight to establish a business tax on cannabis. In order to be able to have this go into effect, we need to, under state law, submit it to the voters and needs to receive approval of a little bit more than 50% of those voting. In order to move the item forward, the request of staff is that the city council adopt 3 resolutions and then take another action. The first 3 resolutions would be to order an election to be held. Second, to set priority to the city council for filing written argument in favor of the measure. Third, to provide for the filing of rebuttal arguments. Those are the 3 resolutions. And the last item is by motion to authorize the mayor or 2 members of the city council to work with staff in order to prepare a written argument in favor of the measure.
Any questions? Thank you, Wendy. Is there a motion to adopt resolution 2026-28?
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2026-28.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Costa Junior,
Aye.
Councilmember Fernandez,
Aye.
Councilmember Villegas,
Aye.
Councilmember Hernandez, and Mayor Julian.
Aye. Resolution passes. Now, is there a motion to adopt resolution 2026-29?
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2026-29.
I'll second.
Any discussion? We'll have a roll call, please.
Councilmember Costa Junior,
Aye.
Councilmember Fernandez,
Aye.
Councilmember Villegas,
Aye.
Councilmember Hernandez, and Mayor Julian.
Aye. Resolution passes. Is there a motion to adopt resolution 2026-30?
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2026-30.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Costa Junior,
Aye.
Councilmember Fernandez,
Aye.
Councilmember Villegas,
Aye.
Councilmember Hernandez, Mayor Julian.
Aye, the resolution passes. Now, is there a motion to authorize the mayor or two members of the city council? I'll be more than happy to work with staff to do that.
I think that's great.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to authorize the mayor to work with staff on that.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All ayes. Thank you, Wendy. All right, we'll go to 11. Submission of a measure to voters to increase the transient occupancy task rate from 6 to 12% and include additional types of occupancy subject to the tax. Wendy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and council members and other people here in the room. The item before you follows up on an ordinance that the city council passed to increase the transient occupancy tax rate from 6% to 12%, and to also include additional types of occupancies such as campgrounds to be subject to the tax. Putting the city of Guadalupe on a par with other communities in Santa Barbara County and San Luis Obispo County as well with its transient occupancy tax. In order to accomplish this, because it is a tax measure, we would need to submit it to the voters and receive a favorable vote of 50% plus in order to pass the tax. In order to submit to the voters, what the council needs to do is, again, adopt a series of resolutions, 2026-31 ordering the election, 2026-32 to set priority to the city council for filing a written argument in favor, directing the city attorney to prepare impartial analysis. I didn't say that last time, but it was there. Third resolution, number 2026-33, providing for the filing of rebuttal arguments. Finally, after the resolutions are acted on, by motion to authorize the mayor or two members of the city council to work with staff on preparing a written argument in favor of the measure. Thank you.
Any questions of Wendy? Is there a motion to adopt resolution 2026-31?
A motion to adopt 2026-31.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Costa Junior,
Aye.
Councilmember Fernandez,
Aye.
Councilmember Villegas,
Aye.
Councilmember Hernandez, and Mayor Julian.
Aye. The resolution passes. Is there a motion to adopt resolution 2026-32?
I'll motion to adopt 2026-32.
I'll second.
Roll call, please. Sorry.
Councilmember Costa Junior,
Aye.
Councilmember Fernandez,
Aye.
Councilmember Villegas,
Aye.
Councilmember Hernandez, and Mayor Julian.
Resolution passes. Is there a motion to adopt resolution 2026-33?
I motion to adopt 2026-33.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Costa Junior,
Aye.
Councilmember Fernandez,
Aye.
Councilmember Villegas,
Aye.
Councilmember Hernandez, and Mayor Julian.
Resolution passes. Item 4, is there anybody that wishes to participate with me or others on working on this written argument?
I mean, I'm always happy to participate, but if you want to do it again.
I'll do it. Thank you.
Okay.
Is there a motion to authorize myself work with city staff on the written argument?
A motion to authorize the mayor to work with staff on preparing the written argument in favor of the measure.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All ayes. All right. Okay. Thank you, Wendy, for that. Now, item 12, adoption of accounting technicians classification and elimination of the account clerk 3 classification. Mrs. Estrella.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, staff, and community. This job description is going to be updating very outdated classification in the finance department that will better reflect the work that's being done today and has morphed over the years. The current accounting 3 clerk classification was adopted in 1999 and focused mainly on clerical accounting functions. The responsibilities of this position have naturally expanded significantly since then and now into much broader range of duties. This will replace the outdated classification with one that better aligns with the current operational needs. Some of the responsibilities include payroll processing, AP, AR, utility billing, business licensing, financial reporting, some grant administration support, supporting the audit, and customer service as well. With these updates, it will also provide flexibility for cross-training and operational continuity. The city has provided notice to SEIU and will complete any required meet and confer obligations. Staff is asking that council adopt resolution number 2026-34, approving the accounting technician classification and abolishing the obsolete account clerk 3 classification. Whoa, that's a lot.
Just looking at the tasks that this person is going to do is accounts payable, payroll processing, utility billing, revenue collection, financial reporting, budget preparation, grant administration, audit preparation, purchasing and procurement support, customer service. That takes a lot. And I think I truly believe it's justifiable. So any questions from a former HR person?
Is that me?
That's you.
No, I totally support it as well. I think that over time, the department has dramatically changed. The city's grown, more responsibilities have been added to the people who are doing this function, and to put it all together on one job description has been needed for some time, and I totally support it, as well as the grade of salary grade 200.
Any other comments? I want to hear from Eli. Mr. Antino.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, staff, members of the public. So just I would just echo obviously Sylvia's comments. She and I and obviously David, we worked very closely together on this, and we've been I've been keeping them abreast of some of the issues and challenges that we have now in the accounting department, and I know that I mentioned some of those at our last meeting. And I think in order to set us up for a future where issues don't continue arising, I think having the ability to have staff that can on a lot of levels cross into each other's jobs and support each other's jobs without having to worry about any out of class issues, et cetera, is going to be imperative. And I think the other reason as well is obviously we're a small department with a lot of duties. And I think just recognizing that on a piece of paper is going to be extremely important as well.
All right.
I just have a question. With this change and with our budget where it's at, is there any impact going from the 3 to a technician? Is it just?
It's very minimal.
Okay.
One of the things that, and I talked to David about this just in passing, is that there was a delay in submitting grant requests. And with the lag and having to pick up, work that using our general fund money is tough. And I know that we received, because the reimbursement requests were enhanced, it's now we're seeing, quicker return on money, or putting money back in our account. So it's very important. So is there, without any further discussion, is there a motion to adopt resolution 2026-34?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 2026-34, approving the accounting tech position.
Is there a second? Okay. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Costa Junior,
Aye.
Councilmember Fernandez,
Aye.
Councilmember Villegas,
Aye.
Councilmember Hernandez, and Mayor Julian.
Aye, resolution passes. Thank you, Sylvia and Eli. All right, next item is item 13, City of Guadalupe Preliminary Enterprise Fund Draft Budget Fiscal Year 2026-27 Workshop. Mr. Martinez.
Yes, and I don't know if you want to put the budget up, but good evening again. While that's getting up on the screen, I just a few maybe precursory comments. One, this is going to be talking about unaudited numbers, so just keep that in mind. As you know, we've been working through audited information for the last 12 months, and we'll continue to do so. On a preliminary basis, this is really looking at two budgets, one for, generally speaking, the Water Enterprise Fund, and the other is the Wastewater Enterprise Fund. And, just to give you the good news on top, the budgets on those funds are balanced. And so that's a good thing. We want to make sure that we review this. I'm going to review this at a high level, but I'll go as deep as you want to go on the numbers. This should be a little bit easier to get through than the general fund because of, they're relatively more straightforward. But again, I'll focus on what I have at a high level, and then we'll go as deep as you want to go. Just general overview, and this is really talking about the body of the memo, which I'm sure you've all read. And then we'll switch over to the general numbers in a second, but I'll give you a general overview. On the water side, generally speaking, you had $2.9 million in revenues. And if you want to look at those numbers, those are on page 2 of the memo. Yeah. No, I'm sorry. It was on the bottom of page 1. Sorry. Yeah, there we go. And so, yeah, you see on the bottom, water operating fund, you've got $2.9 million in revenues, $2.9 million in expenses. The way to think about this is that, and I'll repeat this again with the wastewater, because it's relatively the same picture. The city has enough money coming in to pay for, and I say the city, loosely speaking, this is the enterprise funds, but the city has enough money coming in to pay for the services and expenses it plans to provide during the year. And that's the way to think about a balanced budget, where the surplus and deficit column on the right-hand side is 0. Okay, so we're not in the business of making money. Okay, but we're also not in the business of losing money either. So we want to have enough money to pay for the services, and so a 0 on that side is in this context is a good thing. And as you can see on the wastewater operating fund side, you have the same picture, albeit slightly lower revenues, $2.5 million in revenues on the wastewater, and then $2.5 million in expenses. So again, the budgets are balanced. The assumptions that we used, again, at a high level, because there was a lot of assumptions, and keep in mind, these are not, there's a little bit of art and a little bit of science on this. So some of the assumptions we use numbers that were reliable from a third party where we could. For example, the water costs that we pay to the state, because we have to buy our water from the state, those came straight from the Central Coast Water Authority. And so those numbers are integrated into the budget. We also have updates in there that includes numbers to the CIP. So I worked closely with David, and we worked with the city engineer, and we looked at those numbers, and there's been a lot of work done, as you saw last week, on the general fund and the CIP budget, to eliminate things this year, this coming fiscal year, that would negatively impact the funds. And then also, I would say that there's information here that's also extrapolations of things that, looking at the past, right? You're looking at the revenue streams, that historical record, looking at that on a go-forward basis, and seeing what would be the most conservative outcome. And we try to stay at a high level very conservative. Okay, so looking at, if you want to switch to let's see, I don't want to go too deep into the memo, because I want to keep it high level, but generally speaking, the revenues, and I'll go over the biggest items on the water side. on the water side, the usage and services really drives the revenue on that. And so this is again, residential usage and then commercial usage. The numbers that we use there for residential usage, the revenue on the revenue side, those are going to be reflecting an increase of 13%. For services, that's going to remain flat. And again, that's sort of a conservative estimate. The usage, again, based on what the activity has been over the last 4 years, and then the service is the same approach. On the commercial side, that's a number, and when we go into the actual budget worksheet, I'll point this out, but that's a number that's fluctuated a lot over the past few years. And so there's not a straight line to say it's going to keep on going up or going down, but really on the conservative side, the usage on that, we're forecasting a negative 30% drop because of the historical swings. We don't want to be 30% on the upside and then overspend. We'd rather keep it in the middle and project something that's a little bit more conservative. And then on the service side, we're projecting that to be flat. On the wastewater side, really the biggest driver of revenues there, and probably the only one you could say, is the service charges for wastewater services, and we're forecasting a 1% increase. Expenses, looking at going to the water side, and I'm just going to point out the 5 biggest expenses on there, and just because I think those are the most the things that call everybody's attention the most. Obviously, the biggest expense on the water side is that we have to pay for our state water, and we're paying $929,000 for state water. The next highest expense is salaries and benefits. Obviously, that includes a lot of line items when you look at the budget. And then CIP, which is, when you get into that at that level, it's really not as high, but just relatively speaking to the top 2. But we do have money going to AMI phase 2. I don't exactly know what that is, but I think if you have questions on that, I think David probably could answer that. But I know there's money going into that. Professional services is the next thing. We have a rate study that will be happening in the next fiscal year. We've already started conversations with a consulting agency to make sure that our rates are being charged at the right level. So we're not at a revenue disadvantage for the enterprise fund. We also have part of consulting services for the cleanup project that's going on that touches the revenue funds coming out of there. And then also for grant writing services, also there's a portion coming out of there. And then generally speaking, and I should have said this with salaries and benefits, but we've also, and we mentioned this last time, we've reallocated to the extent possible, legally possible, salaries for staff that are coming out directly out of the water budget. For example, finance staff that really takes payments for utilities. And then other staff that, and I think David mentioned this, with maintenance crews who are going to be working directly impacting water and wastewater budgets. So you'll see that in salaries. And then lastly, the last highest item for water would be utilities. That would be PG&E, is the biggest line item. It takes a lot of energy to run a water plant. And so moving to waste, if you look at the highest expenses there, or expense sources, CIP is going to be the largest one. And the reason for that is going to be really one big ticket item, and that's going to be the Pioneer Lift Station. And so that's something that's going to continue, and that's coming out of the wastewater budget. Professional services, the next highest expense, that includes a rate study, the grant writing, and the cleanup project. And then we have a small cushion in there for other things that might come up through the year that we may not be able to foresee at this point in time. Also, then moving to the next item, the next highest item would be utilities. Again, that's mainly composed of energy, water, and communication for wastewater, and then salaries and benefits. So I've covered revenue sources, at least the largest ones, and then the largest expense sources for both enterprise and both enterprise funds. So I'm going to pause there for a second to see if there's any questions before I move into the actual spreadsheets.
Okay, any questions? Okay,
Sure. Okay. And then I'll just briefly say that this also includes the capital accounts for each fund, and that's the the water capital account and the wastewater capital account. You'll see that they're really intermediary funds for transitioning money from the enterprise funds to the CIP budget, and so that's all that is. So maybe if we move over to let's just start with the first page on the condensed, the budget worksheet condensed. Yeah, the first page of the budget where it'll be there we go. That one.
there you go.
Yeah. And I'll just give you a general sense of how to, I'm sure you've seen this several times now, but just for the public, anybody who doesn't know how to read this yet or is not familiar with it, just a general overview of the report and how it's read. Again, this is the budget for the enterprise funds fiscal year, ending 2026, but also includes 2027 on here if you look at the far hand right column. So on the left, you'll see that the top line where it says Fund 10 Water Operating Fund, what that really identifies is that this is going to be covering the first enterprise fund, which is the water fund. And this is where most of the activity happens for the water fund. That top first line is revenue, which is money coming in, obviously, and then it goes into each account we're receiving monies into, and then the account name. And then as you move to the right, you see columns labeled for each fiscal year, 23-24 total activity. When you see total activity, that means that's what actually happened. So those are the things. So in that year, we actually, for example, other fines and penalties for the wastewater, we actually collected $175 for 2023-24. Okay, so and then progressively moving to the right, 24-25, same thing. That's a total activity, 25-26, total activity. And then year to date, 25-26, 25-26 total budget. And then year to date, 25-26 activity. And so again, this is where you start to see under total budget, what we forecasted we would budget for this year, and then what we have to date. Obviously, the year's not over, so there could be some payments rolling in between now and the end of the fiscal year. But for the most part, this is going to be what we're going to look like through the end of the year, of this fiscal year. And then the far right-hand column is what we're projecting forward for 26-27. Okay, so if you move down the line, if you want to focus mainly on the big picture items, which I recommend, on where it says revenue total, that's really what the total revenue from all sources for this enterprise fund. And you can see the fluctuations year by year. I think, 23-24, you brought in $2.3 million in this enterprise fund. 24-25 went up to 3.3, and then you came back down 25-26 to 2.9. So as you can see, it's not a straight line up, even though, we could sometimes we tend to think, well, you know what, water doesn't necessarily go down in price and everybody's paying more. Usage fluctuates. There's also times where the service levels change, maybe the population changes, et cetera. So all those things kind of fold into these numbers. And so I think one of you asked last time, if we go to down the expenses without going through every single line, if you flip to the next page, here we go, sort of, I would say down the middle, you see that 830, well, now it's on the top of that screen, 837,000 on the far right, 69670. If you look at the state water, that's the single highest line item for us. And those are the actual costs that the state's charging for our water that's getting delivered to the city of Guadalupe. And so, and that's a charge that, I mean, we have no control over, obviously. And so that's just, we just take it as it is. So you see things like that. And then if you flip the page one more page down, and this is the page I wanted to point out. One of you asked last time, well, how do we know when we're in trouble with our budgets? And this is where you see it. If you look at where it says Fund 10 Water Operating Fund surplus or deficit. Okay, on the top of let's see, we'll call it page 3. 23-24, you see that you budgeted having a surplus of $114,000. In 24-25, you budgeted a surplus of $714,000. And then in 25-26, you budgeted a deficit of $1.1 million. Let's call it 1.2 million, just to round it. And so that could have been a warning for the council saying, hey, wait a second, how are we overspending in our enterprise funds? They're supposed to be cash neutral, right? So what is going on here? How is it that we're not bringing enough money in to support the services of this, I'll call it pseudo business enterprise fund, right? So how are we not doing that? And that could have been sort of a stopping point to question this. I would also, honestly, on an equal basis, I would equally be concerned about a $714,000 surplus, because that implies that there's money that's not being used for a certain purpose. And so that could be, I don't know, money that potentially we could have used to improve some capital structures for the water fund, et cetera. So, but we didn't end up doing it. So I think this is where I think you can go to immediately and say, okay, let's take a quick pulse on the budget for this. And as you can see, going forward, 26, 27, you have zero, which means everything's being used and spent, and there's no money left over or overspent. That's the Water Enterprise Fund in a nutshell. Again, I don't know if there's questions on that I can stop. Okay.
Eli, if you go back to page 1 on the salaries for regular salaries, if I look at what was budgeted for 25-26 versus what's budgeted for 26-27, there's a plus of 150,740, and that to me would look like there's another position that's going to be added to that department.
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I think that's a good catch. And I think one of the things that I think, David mentioned this and I mentioned this as well. One of the things through the restructuring of the departments, and David, you can jump in as well afterwards, is that we're trying to capture as many costs that are legally possible into the enterprise funds as well, in terms of people actually doing work that impact the water fund. And then, and I think part of that is creating this maintenance group that is sort of broader speaking, going into other areas. Whereas I think right now the current state is, you have you got a building fund, and they're only focused on building, but I mean, they're budgeted as building, but my understanding is actually they're doing things that impact the water fund as well. So, but they're not they weren't being charged there. Mm-hmm. So that increase actually reflects a truer picture of what's actually happening with the city.
So you're saying, so the other individuals who may be classified outside of water are actually doing water, and that's what this plus 150K is for? Is that what you're saying?
So it would be including, they're not doing licensed water work, but they're doing work that would include water systems. So if they're working on water lines or things like that, that's what it would include.
And it should also include some of the finance people's stuff that's going toward billing and things like that.
Yeah, so historically, this has been transferred in if I'm wrong, correct me, in an annual be, and now it's being processed monthly. So it's going to show up more as a budgeted item versus a transfer.
Okay.
Right. And that's a good point, David. I mean, that's the other thing is that there's a change in the way that it's going to be done. I think this gives you a more accurate picture, and you can see line item by line item where the money is going versus before it's a broad level transfer and there was no transparency on what's that transfer for. Right. And so I think that that's a better way to look at it as well. Any other questions on water? All right, so moving into the wastewater. And then, you know, let me just drive using, yeah, there we go. Let's go to page 4. Because I think that's where it actually, there we go. If we want to look, again, I'm just going to point out some of the things that we pointed out earlier. If you look on the bottom, if you want to scroll down a little bit, please. There we go. 777,000 is the biggest amount of money going out. That's a transfer to the general fund. And I want to point this out because I know I wrote it into the memo because it's really important. There's not money going into the general fund. And this is one of the weaknesses in Tyler right now. And I mentioned this to David is, you know, I've only been here about 3 months now, a little bit over 3 months. But, you know, one of the first things I jumped into is the budget. So I started, you know, fast and furious going to the budget. And so by the time I realized that, you know, it had some limitations, I was already pretty much done with the budget. So the limitation is that if the account doesn't exist in Tyler at the moment the budget's being created, you basically have to scrap the entire thing and start over. And so I don't want to go back and recreate 3 months worth of work. There should be a fund here in the perfect world that says, you know, transfer to CIP for the wastewater fund. There isn't one. So for now, and this will change in the final budget, and when you see a budget amendment, you'll see, oh, transfer to the CIP, which will correctly show that number. But for purposes of showing the fact that we are transferring money out of this account to another place, $702,000 is actually going to, of that 777,000 is actually going to fund the Pioneer Lift Station, which I already had said earlier, right? So I think that's an important distinction. We're not making a transfer. We're not contradicting what we just said earlier, where we're not transferring money out. This is actually supposed to be a transfer to the CIP, the entire thing. And there's several pieces in that number. You know, part of it is, again, the Pioneer Lift Station, and then the other parts are going to be things that there's a study for the rates. There's also there's also the work plan, and then there's also it's reflecting a transfer out for a consolidation grant that we're getting as well. And then again, I'm going to jump down to the bottom of that line. Again, FY 23-24. This is your litmus test again. You budgeted a deficit of $110,000. Again, you planned. So I guess the way I would think about it is you're planning to spend more than you're bringing in. Okay, that's what you're saying. And then 24-25, you're planning to underspend money. Similarly, the next year, and then this fiscal year that we're in now, we had planned to underspend almost $1 million. So this is your litmus test. In the next coming year, fiscal year 26-27, we're balanced. So that's the wastewater budget again in a nutshell. I'll briefly go over the capital accounts, just again, so you can see those if you want to flip to the next page. Those are relatively straightforward. And just to explain what these are, again, these are intermediary funds that from that we've used. I mean, you can do it, technically you can do it a couple different ways. I think the history has been that we've used this intermediate fund, when we want to transfer money from wastewater or water to CIP, we first send it to these funds and then transfer it from here to the CIP. So what you're going to see then here is you're going to have that $300,000 in 26-27. If you see on the where it says transfers, and that's going for that's the AMI phase 2 project. That's going to the CIP budget. And then on the next page, you're going to see a similar transfer or a set of transfers then for the wastewater capital. That's 1.7. That 1.7, I know I've been saying 700,000, but that 1.7 is actually reflecting the total amount of the cost of the Pioneer Lift Station. So there's a grant coming in from IRWM. I believe I got that right, but IRWM, that's for about $900,000 and change. And that's actually getting transferred. That's what makes up that 1.7 million. And that's it. So unless there's questions, I'll kick it over back to the council.
No questions. I want to thank you for this report. Very thorough, very easy to read. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Municipal Finance 202, so this is good to have, and I love zeros. We're balanced. So, any questions, Amelia, the staff? Thank you. Very good. Okay. All right. We'll go to item. Can you hit the lights again, so Ms. Villegas? Future agenda items.
Quick question of Eli on that. Eli, you mentioned that in this coming fiscal year, you'll be looking at rate changes. And should there be changes, do I assume they're effective January 1?
I don't know how long the study will take, because I know they just send a quick email to us basically saying, hey, you guys had started it last year, the conversation, but it's been so long that we have to go back and update the information, get newer information. So I don't know what the timing will be, but it will be, it would be prospective, not retroactive, basically. So yeah, and I think at some point we're going to come back with a budget adjustment, to be honest with you, just to reflect that.
Any future agenda items? Okay, item 15, announcements, council activity.
Mr. Mayor.
I'm sorry.
I know.
Seen anything?
I just want to say the field looks really good. I got to go out there last Monday. My niece is playing for the Junior Giants and got to see it. I asked Eddie and them if they could chalk the lines so they would have it for practice. Then I got to attend their first game this past weekend, which was fun to see. Little 4 or 5-year-olds, learning to play a game, and just brings me back to when my kids started playing rec ball here, basketball, and watching them try to dribble the ball. And you got these little guys just out there doing their thing. I got to see Councilwoman Hernandez out there with her partner, and they're coaching their team, and it was really good to see.
Christina, anything?
Thank you. I attended the mural unveiling with Stephanie Krause. It was really exciting to see the community. They had a taco truck, free tacos. Residents were walking by and asking questions, and that was amazing. This past weekend, I attended the robotics tournament here at the new junior high. I want to say there was possibly about 20 teams. And they competed against each other. They were trying to show the students how a real tournament would be. They were very enthusiastic. I think the children spent 1 week creating the robotics, and it was a really fun experience. I think it was students from 4th to 6th grade here in Guadalupe. So really excited to see them practice, cheer, and get excited. This past weekend on Friday, I attended the Juneteenth in Lompoc with my children. It was really exciting, and everybody actually raved about Chief Cash, about all his talks, and hoping he can kind of give one of those talks here locally. So, and that's my end of my report.
I think that's we should have brought that up in terms of a proclamation Juneteenth, and hopefully everybody got the message in terms of how important that is for us. Amelia.
A couple weeks ago, I attended an event that was held at Hancock, and President Walters was talking about the bond measure that actually passed and will be on the ballot for 290 million. He talked about, before he talked about, there are some of us who actually toured the auto body shop, the auto mechanic shop, the welding shop, and the manufacturing shop. I had no idea they were there because it's in a section that says wine center. So I thought we were touring the wine center. But it was very interesting to see. And apparently the students there are getting trained very, very well. And some of the car dealers, particularly Toyota, are taking them mechanics. So that's nice to hear. The 290 million, President Walters talked about upgrading the facilities, talked about building new facilities, looking at a center to continue with the programs of the bachelor's with Cal Poly. And actually that the 10th was midweek, and then that weekend, an individual there from Cal Poly who was a part of this particular program, they graduated, I think it was 20 people for the sociology degree from Poly. Go Poly. And also looking at expanding to bring, Channel Islands in addition. So it was very interesting, and a very mixed group of people there, and actually an excellent barbecue. It was excellent. Also want to mention that maybe Charlene, you want to talk about the 5K on July 25th, July 25th, or you don't want to talk about it? I'll talk about it. Okay. No. On July 25th, which is a Saturday, there'll be the second 5K in memory of Ron Estabile. And it will be held, let's see. It starts at Rancho Guadalupe. It finishes at Mary Buren. The fee to just do the 5K is $10, which is extremely cheap. And the fee for the 5K and breakfast T-shirt, and which will be part of a donation, is $30. It's to benefit the Guadalupe School, the district, the students, and so encourage everybody to go. The first one was last year. Some of us went. It was a lot of fun. The breakfast is very good. If you got the pancake breakfast for the Kiwanis, it's the same. I gotta tell you, that batter is really, really good. So I encourage everybody to participate. It's a lot of fun. Last thing I want to mention for the library is that the packets for this month are DIY packets. There's a book and a DIY packet of crafts for 8 and 12-year-olds. So just go to the library and pick it up. And the summer reading program is still going.
Mayor, if I could just please add that June 30th, there will be a public hearing from the County Board of Supervisors in regards to the draft EIR for the levee trail. I know a lot of residents are really looking forward to hopefully this proposed project, and there will be a public hearing June 30th at 3 p.m.
Okay, I attended via Zoom. There's a state committee that oversees the coastal waters, and I'm just going to read it. I testified in support for effective, what they call 30 by 30 implementation for the ocean, including supporting marine protection proposals like Point Sal and Meshachpino, which Shumash, protection of 30%. What it is, 30 by 30 is protection of 30% of California's coastal waters by 2030. And basically, we supported the Northern Shumash Tribal Council's proposal to protect this area with a new marine protected area, which is Point Sal, and advanced tribal co-management, which the tribe will be helping co-management. And the Mishapshano is just for people that may not know it, is the Chumash Indian village of Mishashpano, discovered by Juan Rodriguez Cabrillo on August 14th, 1542. Was located 1/4 miles southwest of the monument that's in Carpinteria. Friar Juan Crispy of the Gaspar de Portolo expedition named it San Roque on August 17th, 1769. Portola's soldiers observing the Indian building wooden canoes called it the village of La Carpinteria, which is the carpenter, which is now Carpinteria. On 6/25 this Thursday, we have I will be participating in support of the city, the Santa Barbara County Association of Governments at 10 o'clock in Santa Maria, and then at 1 o'clock, Santa Barbara Air Pollution Control District meeting. There's some big ticket items that are coming down in terms of North County programs, which is going to be very dramatic within the next 5 to 10 years. So a lot happening. Any further comments or questions? Is there a motion to adjourn? Is there a second? We changed
I'll
it.
second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All ayes. Thank you all.